Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. Here are your hosts, Oswin and Lord Knight. All right, so welcome. Today, I've pulled out of the topics a little thing about our degree system.
All right.
It wasn't too long ago that we were talking with some folks on Discord, and we were seeing some similarities and some differences between our degree system and their degree system, I guess you would call it.
Well, yeah. And we're also finding some problems where we're running into the quote unquote Wiccan community.
Right. And so yeah, we need to kind of explain where we're coming from.
Yeah. First, let me start off with, in an ideal world, if I could have my way.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice. All these eclectic and solitaires would just refer to themselves as Wiccan, and the title of witch giving back to us traditionalist.
Okay, why is that?
Because witch to us is a title, and it has to do with the degree system.
Okay.
All right. So think about it like this. All right. You know, in high school, you got what? Freshmen, sophomore, seniors.
Juniors and seniors.
Seniors,
yeah.
Right. Same basic concept here.
All right.
Except for when you're going from what we call neophyte, which is someone learning.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is just somebody learning, and you're not expected to know that much because you're in the process of learning.
Right. You're a student, basically.
You're a student. When you get to first degree, you get the title of the word witch.
Okay.
So when you become a first degree, you get to refer to yourself as a witch. Well, I'm trying to think of a way to describe this. This is kind of like, you know, being able to put that PhD at the end of your name because you have a doctorate.
Okay.
Without actually having to be a surgeon doctor. You know what I mean? It
All
just denounced a level of education.
Gotcha.
So that's what witch is to us. So any first degrees we would refer to as a witch or a first degree. The problem here is what the expectation is. If you're calling yourself a witch, the expectation is there are certain things that you should be able to do and would never quit. You know, am I making sense there?
Yeah, but like what? I mean, what would be, as far as like a Wiccan goes, what should they be able to do to be able to call themselves witch?
Well, first of all, you have to be initiated. Makes sense?
But what about responsibilities?
What about responsibilities? Again, every first degree should be able to do the following, okay? Should be able to at least cast a first degree circle and understand the concept behind casting that circle. They should be able to tell you why. Does that make sense? How they're doing it and why they're doing it in the whole 9 yards.
Right.
Normally, on first degrees, that's just the generic way. They're going to learn the generic way that everybody in Temple knows or everybody in Coven knows. Right?
Right.
So they should be able to understand it in that process and be able to explain it to you.
Okay.
Every first degree should be able to cleanse and purify any item they want.
Okay. So item, I mean, we're literally talking anything. Could be a crystal, could be
a piece of clothing, a
working
necklace,
tool,
a house.
Okay.
Because again, the idea there is just the object's gotten bigger.
All right.
True. I mean, blessing a house is the same thing as blessing your candles or anything else. It's just the size.
It should be, yeah.
Of the item. So again, every first degree should be able to cast circle, cleanse, and bless anything, including houses. So they should be able to do house blessings.
Okay.
All right. Which means that, most first degrees should be able to handle any negative energies without having to turn around and look at somebody going, well, how do you deal with negative energy?
Mm.
All right. So again, I mean, if you're out there on the web or something and somebody goes, well, I'm a witch, to me, you should know how to do that. You should not turn around and go, well, I got this entity in my house and I don't know what to do. You're calling yourself a witch. You should know how to do this.
Okay, but wouldn't experience play into that as well? I mean, if you've never had to deal with that, then
there's a difference between never having to deal with it and knowing what to do. Give you an example. You don't understand exactly how computers work, right?
Right.
On a circuit level, right?
No, that's well out of my realm of expertise.
But you know enough to sit back and going, my computer ain't working right. I need to get a professional.
Okay.
Again, just like on house blessings, I can understand a first degree coming to a second or a third degree going, here's the negativity I got in my house. I know what to do to get rid of it. Can you come hold my hand for the first time?
Okay.
Did you see where I'm drawing that line there?
Right. Yeah, that makes more sense now.
Right. Again, a little hand holding there on first degrees. Yeah, a little bit just to stand there and go, that a boy.
Right.
I can understand, but sitting there and going and looking at somebody going, well, yeah, I'm a witch, I'm a first degree, and I don't know what to do about negative energies.
Okay, I see your distinction now. It's more of it's more of I don't know what to do versus I know what to do, I've just never done it before.
Or I know what to do, I'm just scared. Or I'm just nervous about it.
Right.
Does that make sense? There's a difference there to me. Just because you're nervous about something and you're a little scared to do it or whatever does not necessarily mean you don't know what you're doing. But I can't sit there and go, hey, you're a witch, if you're sitting there going, I don't know how to deal with negative energies. There's a standard there.
Yeah, you're calling yourself a witch. You should know
certain things,
such as how to deal with that.
Right. Because again, the problem we have is you got Sally who wakes up first thing in the morning one day and goes, oh, well, I guess I'm just a witch, and walks on and don't know. Well, yeah, you should be able to have a form of divination and be proficient at it. You should be able to cast circle and be proficient at it. You should be able to, deal with negative energies without anybody's help, generally speaking, without anybody's help, and know what in the world you're doing.
Right.
Without those standards there, what's a witch? It's just another fucking word.
Right. And then basically it loses all
its meaning.
Yeah, it loses all its meaning, all its power.
Right. Because, I should be able to deal with somebody who understands the theory of magic, understands circle casting and ritual, be able to perform at least the circle casting, and be able to perform a house blessing or blessing and charging any item they want.
Okay.
Now, at second degree, you should be able to do everything a first degree does, plus be able to write ritual and conduct a ritual without assistance.
Okay, but there are a lot of solitaries who can do that.
There's a lot of solitaries that can do that, but there are a lot of these solitaries that can also get rid of negative energies and do the pleasant, because you also still got to be able to do what a first degree does while adding on top of.
Okay, but what about the solitaries who can?
What do you mean?
I mean, there are solitaries who can do all of that.
Well, there are. But again, that dividing line for us is that initiation process.
Okay.
At first degree, you are initiated. When you are initiated, you are turned into a witch. And a witch means with this that you have this level of competency.
So without that.
Right. It's just like a sophomore. A sophomore in school has to prove that they can do the task set for them. That they
Okay.
know this much math, they know this much English, they know same thing. We're sitting back going, yeah, they know this much about their myths and legends. They know how to meditate. They know how to cleanse items at first degree. Just because you become a second degree doesn't mean that all these other things just disappear. The responsibilities and the stuff that you can do at first degree, second degrees can do too, plus more. They should be able to cast a second degree circle. They should and be able to explain what in the world they're doing. They need to show some competency enough to counsel people, and at least enough to go, you need professional help, not me.
Right.
They should be able to write and perform rituals in front of people. In other words, your solitary might be able to write and perform ritual, but as soon as you put that person in front of a group, it falls apart.
So basically at second degree, you should be able to do a public ritual.
Public ritual, no hangups, no problems. I'm not talking about, slurring a word or whatever. I just mean it should be able to go pretty smoothly and you direct it just fine, and even be able to cover up any mistakes that you happen to make. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you should be able to perform and do all these things and start to show a certain level of competence when counseling people. And a second degree also, believe it or not, has to have what we refer to as a field of expertise.
Okay.
So regardless of what it is, from herbalism all the way up to accounting or whatever, I don't care. You just have to explain how in the world you can use this skill in craft.
All right.
I know some people that could probably use being a mechanic on a car to explain and teach someone else witchcraft.
All right.
Because they can see the connections there.
So,
Does that help?
So literally, as long as you can make a connection to craft.
Right. And use it to teach and to understand the world around you and, how nature and everything works. What's the problem?
Right.
And again, these skills like learning how to fix a car, the same troubleshooting skills can be used in craft. This is what you're really teaching.
Okay. That makes sense.
Third degrees should be able to do everything a first degree and a second degree does, plus be able to cast a third degree circle, be able to operate a temple fairly, and be able to teach and arrange classes and organize the temple itself. Does that make sense? And keep things running as smoothly as possible.
Okay.
All right. You have to show those skills before you become any of these degrees.
So neophyte is like entry level as far as, say, like a job goes.
Right.
First degree would be just beyond entry level. You've been there. You've gone beyond your probationary period. You've been there probably at least a year. You're considered a full-time employee.
Right.
Second degree would be like supervisor.
Yeah, that middle management.
Right. And then third degree is like upper management.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Now, again, with each one of these degrees comes title. First degree, the first title is witch. At second degree, it's either lord or lady. And at third degree, there's the mysterious and ever elusive, and everyone hates it, elder status.
But now, would third degree, wouldn't elder be like after, well, I guess third degree could be considered that because elder implies that you've been working behind the altar for.
Well, normally how it goes is you will go from your second degree, lord and lady, to either a high priest or priestess.
Right.
And those are normally the titles you carry for the first couple of years.
Right.
Then you suddenly get that elder title.
Yeah, because to me, elder implies that you've been
done it for a while.
Well, not just your coven or your group, but you've done work with the community. You've
Hmm.
done something to assist the pagan community in some way.
Right. But again, what we're
But
trying
you've
to
been
get
in service to the gods for
right.
X amount of years.
And really what I'm trying to get across to people is when you hear someone from a traditionalist point of view sit there and go, hey, this person's a witch, this person's a lord or lady, this person's an elder or a high priest or priestess. We are literally in our head attaching certain responsibilities and duties and skill and a certain level of competence there. Now, again, these are like what I consider the base minimum.
Right. And so that's not to say that
Other temples don't require more. We don't actually require more than that, but these are the basic ones I think most traditionalists would go, yeah, I could see that.
well, I was going to say it's not to say that, a solitary practitioner is not capable of doing these things. The biggest difference is
You got somebody behind you going, yes, they are competent to this level.
right. As
You
opposed
had
to someone just saying, I can do this.
right. Man, because I hate to be this way. Anybody can get up and go, hey, I can do that.
Right.
I mean, that's like that commercial that went around. Yeah, I stayed at whatever that inn was. I can do this surgery.
Mm-hmm.
You remember those?
Oh yeah.
So this is where I'm trying to make that dividing line between these things.
All right. That makes sense.
And why in the world I think the degree system works the way it does and why we should have it, when we should use it. Because again, like I said, if you got somebody that just yesterday went, hey, yeah, I'm a witch, and then they run across somebody like me, oh, well then can you cleanse this and do this right here and do that? And you're going to look at me going, I have no idea what in the world you're talking about. You're not a witch. Quit calling yourself that. I mean, I think even the Wiccan community, to a certain extent, could go, yeah, I sort of see what in the world he's saying, that if you're going to call yourself this, you need to be able to have a level of competency to a minimum level. There's certain things you should be able to do.
Mm.
And it's just not even questioned. The way I look at it, it's kind of like you going in there and, questioning your doctor when you're sitting there looking on WebMD.
Right. So basically you're saying the community as a whole should set a standard.
Right.
And this should be this. If you're going to call yourself a witch, then this should be the standard.
Right. You should understand these things and be able to do these things. End of subject. If you don't and you don't know, don't call yourself that. This, to me, by you going around calling yourself a witch or a lord or lady or even elder, requires you to be able to do and know certain things. Does that help?
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
I sort of feel like I'm, hitting a dead horse here.
Well, I mean, you probably are, but I think it's an important note to make.
Right. And I'm not even going to say I'm 100% right on these things. These are like the bare minimum ones I can think of.
Right. And again, it's based on our tradition. So,
well, even then, based on our tradition, there's certain things that I would expect a third degree to do that I'm not mentioning here.
Well,
does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, there's things we can't discuss.
There's things we can't discuss. And, like, again, if you're a third degree, you should already have a death rite written up. That's your basic death rite for you to be able to use at a moment's notice. And you've gone through it all and you understand what you're doing in each part and why you're doing it.
Right.
There should be no, well, I got to look that up, or yeah, I'm not sure about that. Your third degree, there should be no, well, I'm not sure about a death rite. No. Am I making sense there?
Yeah.
This is what we do for a wedding and these are our customs and blah, blah, blah. Here's how it goes. Any deviations from there is the other person's problem.
In other words, it should be part of your wheelhouse
Right.
to
Right,
have
like-
these things instead of, oh well, I've got a wedding coming up. I guess I need to put something together.
Right. Again, a third degree to sit there, or a second degree sitting there going, okay, I can marry people or whatever, or third degrees in our traditions can marry people.
Hmm.
You should automatically know, okay, well, I need to sit down with these people. Oh, y'all are Norse. You want me to use Norse gods? Well, here's the ritual we normally use and that I'm accustomed to. If you want me to use something else, y'all are going to have to write it.
Right.
But if not, we can look through this and see what we can change and work with.
Right.
But again, I'm assuming that if you're part of my tradition and you're coming to me to marry you, you're just going to go with the ritual I throw out there. Go, here's our standard ritual.
Okay.
And again, if you're a first degree, I don't expect you to understand everything we're doing and to ask questions. Because again, it's not a first degree's wheelhouse.
Right.
So, and again, like we're talking about, third degrees, yeah. Third degrees need to know all the rituals, all their standard rituals for death, birth, weddings, chronings, and, elderlies and
Right.
initiation.
Whatever else you might have.
Right. And be able to look at those rituals and be able to dissect them and sit there and tell somebody else going, well, here's what we're here in this part of this ritual. This is what we're doing and why.
Right.
I don't know how else to put that, because all I'm thinking is, like when we did our death ritual that I got from Lord Men, we went back through it. I had to sit there and diagnose the actual ritual itself.
Right.
This to me is a third degree trait. It's something we've learned.
I gotcha.
So that way, yeah, I can go over here and I can pick up the Witch's Bible or Ray Buckland or something like that, pull out one of his rituals and be able to dissect it. What are they doing and why?
Okay.
Which is, again, like I said, it's not a third degree thing. It's something you start to learn like at second degree.
Right.
It'd be nice if the elders that I know and all that could get together and we could do another one of these councils like we did back in Ray Buckland and all them did, to sit down and to nail down the minimum requirements for each degree. And then that way it's set in stone and we can just put it out there in public going, hey, bang, here. All the traditionals say this is the minimum of what we believe in without tripping on anybody's mysteries or traditions.
Right, but even then you're going to have, I mean, the only problem I see with that is you're going to have the solitaries who are going to say, well, I'm not part of an organized group.
Well, hence the reason why I would rather
therefore, you're telling me I can't do this or I can't do that. And
well, see, we're not telling them that. What we're telling them is, what I'm trying to tell them is, y'all are part of a different religion. Y'all are part of the Wiccan tradition. And y'all do whatever y'all do.
Okay.
I'm not going to comment. Y'all can do whatever. You can say whatever. You can worship the way you want. If you want to do spells all damn day, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. I would prefer y'all not to refer to yourselves as witches. Because to me, this is a title and this is what it means. All right. So that Wiccan that gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning one day and goes, well, I've decided to change my name to Lord Farts a Lot.
Right.
Okay. But Lord means that you're at least a second degree and you should be able to do these things. And if you're calling yourself that and then turning around and looking at somebody going, well, I don't know how to bless the house. How in the hell can you be a second degree? You can't even do a first degree job.
Right.
I mean, that's all I'm asking for is a level of standard there.
Okay.
And again, like I said, the Wiccans, they can do whatever in the world they want.
But don't take our titles. And
Yeah, don't take our titles and muck it up with something that it's not. Please.
I think that's fair.
That's what a lot of people don't understand is most traditionals aren't trying to stop Wiccans from doing what they're doing. What we're trying to do is get us separated from them.
Right, because there are There are definite differences in practice.
Exactly.
Again, I think that's fair.
Because we were trained, and I was told more times than I can remember by Lord men, we're not a religion of the masses. We're never meant to be the religion of the masses.
No.
The religion of the masses is that Wiccan thing. So, for us, what we're doing is a religion for the priesthood, by the priesthood.
Right.
So again, I'm back to Wiccans. Y'all can do whatever in the world you want. Just please. I know it ain't going to happen, and it's not a hill I'm going to die on.
Right.
There's bigger battles, I think, that need to be done.
But again, in an ideal world.
In an ideal world, this is what I would love. And this is what when I talk, this is where I'm talking from. Regardless if you believe it or not, or you agree with me or not, this is where I'm coming from. This is when I say this words, this is what I'm talking about.
I would, I wish more people would get on board.
I really wish they would. So I'm about out of coffee.
All right. Well, thank you for your input.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning